I decompose it or do I mix it?
Yeah, the choice is yours, whatever you do. Yeah.
Because the compost unit was there,
Mm-hmm.
it had some, when you took them out, like, why are these things here?
Okay. Yeah, so anything basically that had life, it can actually go into it, back into the soil. So we talk of the things that are biodegradable, things that can decompose into fertility. Anything can be used. So when we talk about currently people are also even mulching with plastic. I won't recommend, because mulch simply means cover. Okay, but I don't recommend plastic because plastic is not alive. We want our soil to be what, in as much as it can cover, and then there are points that they want, they can try. I don't want to consider plastic forward for mulching. Okay, so those are the considerations that you may want. So there are things that can never, okay, I've seen your hand, that can never be go into the ground. Glass is one of those. Don't put glass away. Actually glass is made from where? From sand, but no, because it is now glass, it cannot decompose and go again. You put it in the garden. Batteries also, you don't want to be putting batteries anywhere into the garden. Yes, you hand up.
I'm concerned about termites.
Okay.
What can you use as mulch, or what should you do? Should you water in order to avoid termites from eating your dry matter?
Yeah, isn't that good that they're eating dry matter? Continue adding more dry matter for them to eat. Because they don't eat live plants. They eat dry matter, so they help it chop it up and then decompose it. But they mustn't come to a way they become a mess. Sometimes they can actually chop also the green matter. But basically they belong to the class of good plants because they also help to chop up the dry matter for decomposing. But generally they do not eat live matter. Okay.
So the soil that comes as a result of termites, is it rich in nutrients?
Yeah, sometimes we often go to ant hills, all right, and use the ant hills in some other soil. Like we are doing with compost. Maybe especially if the area is too sandy, the sandy soils, because the general sandy soils, they don't have a lot of nutrition in them. So we can actually go to the ant hill, dig up the ant hill, and mix with the sandy soil. It also comes out it helps. Okay.
But now these termites are eating the trees.
Yes, because there is no dry matter. That's the weather is contributing. But if you water a big time, you can actually deter them. I will be going to a point where we say, okay, deterrent plants that we use. And like I said, one of the ways that we can do is mix the or companion planting. If push comes to shove, okay, as the last, we can actually make our own sprays that are what? That are organic. All right, and one of them you can actually use. I don't know if you know blackjack. Who knows blackjack? What do you call it in your language?
Plant.
Yeah.
Plant.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that plant. You can actually grow it. One thing that you can do as well, garlic and the purple leaves. You mix garlic and the purple leaves. Okay? And cayenne pepper. You brew it over 24 hours. So like a tablespoon of cayenne pepper, a handful of garlic, a handful of purple leaves. You mix them up together in 2 liters of water. You brew for 24 hours. By brewing, it's like you just let them stand for 24 hours. Okay? And then the area that is being affected, you drench it with that water. Okay? To irrigate with that water. Okay? This method it doesn't have a bulldozer effect like the chemicals would do, but it has got deterring effect. You see them vanishing. Yeah. Remember, the thing that we are trying to do here is to create a system that is self-sustaining. We can only resort to these ideas when they become a menace. that we are no longer harvesting. They're the only ones that are now eating. We then resort to it. But we should just come to a point, if your garden is good, birds and they are thriving also in there, they will be eating the termites as well.
Birds are eating our fruits.
Yes, some other birds also eat fruits, but there are birds that eat insects. Yeah, so that's why I talked about security. When your fruit is about to ripe, you can actually put a shade net on it. You know, okay, I have a manifestation of these birds, but I don't have a problem with them eating them. And they are actually showing you that no, it's now ripe. But you can also harvest early. When you can see, oh, it's about to ripe, and then you can harvest, and then they fully ripe in home before they are what? Before they are eaten by birds. But okay, when birds eat them, that's a sign of Mother Nature has done the best, and then it's now well cooked. Yes, that's a sign really good. But harvest early, store them, and then you can eat without having to destroy them. Because your garden must be, if there's an area where everybody is cut up to see, your garden must be okay where the birds see as well. Okay? Yes.
I was still on the termite issue. I had somebody saying ash.
Okay.
Ash can help.
All right. Yeah, because ash is also ash, lime. Those ones can also help deter because they are alkaline. Yeah, that's it. That helps so much as well. Right. So we are adding beef to what we started off yesterday. So those are the considerations that you may also want to consider about your what? About your garden. Before you start your garden, you must have reasons for doing that garden. Okay, let's have the reasons for why we're doing garden. Why do you want to start up a garden? Number one, let's go. We can just be writing there. To eat, yes. Yeah? To sell, yes. I want my garden for photography. You can develop a garden where people can just come in for their photo shoot. Yeah, there is it. Yeah. Yeah? Yeah, of course. For its beauty, you can develop a garden for that. You can develop a garden because you want to give produce to the less privileged one. You can develop a garden because you want it a center for learning, where people can come and learn at your what? At your place. So there are so many reasons that you can develop your garden for. So have those what? Those reasons. If you are going to develop a garden for family consumption, now we consider, okay, what do we like to eat much? We as a what? As a family. All right, then you consider that. If you are going to sell, and the reasons you sell, when you are making produce for sale, please, that's not your produce. So don't grow what you want. What do? Research and then grow what they want. And then when the produce is there, you say, hey, it's your produce. You buy. That's business. So the moment you have reasons, okay, you can then capture them well, and then you know, okay, this one is particularly for this one is particularly for what? Particularly for that. And then, okay, the garden can thrive. And then you will have rest. So have reasons for developing your what? For developing your garden. Okay. Okay, tools. We all understand, we talked about the yesterday. You cannot start your whole garden when you don't have tools. So those are things consider how soil. You may also want to think of soil testing. Okay? So there are a lot of labs, probably government labs or private labs, that you can just send your soil for testing. Usually they are just testing for soil pH, that is to say whether if it's acidic or it's alkaline. They are also testing for these three minerals, macro minerals, the ones plants use in larger quantities. Normally that's called as NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Okay, but you can go for a full analysis. Probably they will just need much more money. It will also help you to see how much you are going to need as far as your manure, how far fertile your soil is when you have that analysis. Because with the full analysis, they also give you, because for our plants to thrive, they need macro elements that are needed in bulk, and then micro, they are needed in smaller quantities, and then trace elements which are needed in smaller quantities. So a full analysis will actually give you, okay, how your soil is. When you are trying to get a soil for analysis, your garden, you can just draw a Z. Okay, that's the word in your mind. Okay, the Z is where? In your mind. So you dig a little bit within the subsoil, within the topsoil. You get some soil on this portion, a little bit, and then a little bit also on this part, and a little bit on this part, and a little bit of this part. You mix this soil and you take it to the lab. Doesn't have to be a lot of quantity, even just a cup of the mixture of what of these soils. You take it to the lab and they will do the analysis for you. So you're getting out of here well educated in starting your own gardens. No wonder why we are saying no, it's basically agronomy. So if you want to go for soil test, that's exactly what we just do. Draw a Z in your mind on the garden. So those points, you get what? You get soil, take it to the lab, and they will analyze it for you. This is now saying, okay, my soil is tested, and then how do I develop? Sometimes if it's too acidic, because generally our plants, they are growing into slightly acidic, into neutral, and slightly alkaline. So as you develop, you are going to find your kind of onions, maybe they need a pH of about 5, which is what on the pH scale? Acidic. Because on the pH scale, from 0 to 6.9 is acidic, and then 7 is neutral, and then 7 up to 14 is
Acidic.
alkaline. Okay. So us as human beings, what are we thriving on? What is in our blood alkaline?
6.9.
7.35 to 7, thereabout. So it's on the alkaline side of things. No wonder why if you've got cancer, you've got these diseases will thrive in the acidic environment. But once your blood is always thriving to go on what? On the alkaline side of things. Sometimes you can also just test your saliva. You know how to test alkalinity, how many, the pH. And then test it, it should be at least neutral. So slightly alkaline. Your urine as well. If you see it on the acidic side, you know your system is what? Your system is not very, very good. So we are thriving if we are on the alkaline side of things. No wonder why our diet must be 80% alkaline and 20% good acid. Okay? Because that gives us the balance, what we call homeostasis. Homeostasis. Okay? The balance of the internal environment. Okay? So, get your soil analyzed is one of those things that you can as well do. Consider to do that once you get your land. And then in organics, like I said, the planning also demands you, because you are also going to be keeping animals. Then I have liked this place. It's like it's order. Okay, this place for this one, this is a paddock for that one, this is a paddock for that one. No matter how small your place can be, just make it orderly. You know, when things are orderly, they come up with the positive energy. It's also easier to maneuver your way when things are what? When maneuver is order. So consider order as far as your garden is what? Is concerned. Are we happy with that? So I will add more flesh to that tomorrow. Let's go shift to apiculture for the next few minutes, because I'm just going to be doing the introductions and we go to our gardens and manicure them. Okay, I think by today, by the time we finish today, we should just be ready to plant tomorrow. I'm chasing my brother to make sure we get seedlings, and then we can just know how we can plant, or possibly tomorrow if the seedlings are secured. Are there any burning questions as far as? Yes.
So is it possible from the soil analysis that they can recommend what you can plant?
What you can plant? Yes.
According to the analysis.
Yes. They can recommend, okay, like, okay, when I first did my soil analysis, the pH was very low, 4.5. And then the recommendations was I could plant blueberries. But no, blueberries are like there is a niche for white folks but it's dangerously chemicalized, it's also too politicized. There's also a lot of a system, and I wasn't caring about blueberries. Yeah, but basically, yes, they can actually also recommend you. And also, the other thing that we want you to consider, consult with your agriculture ministry, depending on your on the areas. The plants that do well in that area, plants that are doing well probably in this area may not be doing very well in Cape Town. Okay, so your agriculture ministry around, they also actually even give you an annual plan that, okay, which plants will be going, so you become also very savvy that, okay, I'm shifting to these plants, I'm shifting because as the seasons change, you're also going to be changing the plants that you grow. And like we said, we don't want to grow just a single plant all through. Okay? Simply because you are going to have a short time of Christmas and another long time of drought where you are going to be waiting for them to start it all over again. So you want to come to the point where you've got your transition. You have done your door size bed this week, probably you are waiting for 2 weeks, another one, 2 weeks, another one, right? Maybe cycle them, and then by the time you come, you are changing. When other crops are getting finished there, you are just putting in another one. Once you created that system, you'll be the happiest on the planet. So talk of what succession is the seasons change. Okay, we are happy. Let's go to apiculture. It's like a learned word, but it's actually 2 words. Api, out of bees, because they are generally called apis. Okay, the scientific name. Okay, so apiculture just simply means the keeping of bees for the benefit of men. Okay, you want to keep bees for the benefit of who?
Of men.
For the benefit of men. So, biblically, the Bible is not quite explicit on bee farming. To say, okay, so and so was keeping bees. It's not explicit. I've been trying to get references. But it's so explicit about them harvesting wild honey. Okay? John the Baptist, if you read in Matthew chapter 3, his diet was what? Wild honey and locust. What is locust? It's a fruit. Yeah, it's actually carrot. Yes. But the English, they misinterpreted locusta there to locust. And in our local language, it's like we're talking of grasshoppers. But it's actually what? It's actually carrot. Right. The fact that the Bible says John was eating wild honey, can it then suggest that there are people also were keeping domesticated honey? Okay, but there's also archaeology, there's excavation around Jordan area where they've seen, okay, hives actually, like in apiary. An apiary is where you keep your bees. But okay, there's so many references also about what? About honey in what? In the Bible. Remember also that the time Jonathan found a what? A wild honey and he harvested. And there was a fast that was different because they were at war and he had Samson, you remember Samson? He found what? A bee colony where in a lion. Yeah. Right, and then honey. Okay, the Bible says, eat, son, thou found honey, eat a little bit so that you don't vomit. Okay, so basically, and in this the Bible talks of the land of milk and what? Milk and honey. So references to honey are what? Are there. And honey is apparently also very, very what? Very, very good. So apiculture simply means the keeping of what? Of bees for the benefit of man. Okay. So the person who keeps bee, what would you call it? What do they call it? Okay, there's beekeeper, like bee farmer. He could also be called apiculturalist. Okay, the person who's keeping what? Was keeping bees. Okay, the considerations for keeping bees. Okay, when you design that, okay, I'm going to have a place where I keep my bees, that place is called apiary. Apiary. Where you're going to put your what? Your hives. There are quite a number of different hives that people use. Some hives are called traditional hives. Okay? Long time ago, where people can just debug a tree and then they make a hive out of what? Out of the bark. Or they could hold also a trunk, tree trunk, and make a hive out of what? Out of that. We do not recommend that because for several disadvantages. So some people could just take a drum. Okay, let's say it's quite a big drum. This one here. Alright, and then they put a lid here and a lid the other side, and then they would also make a hive and what? Unto it. Some would actually even use baskets where they then plaster the baskets with the cow dung and the clay soil, and then they'll make hives out of them. We do not recommend the traditional hives. We recommend at least, because these ones they are very difficult to harvest. Because when you harvest, you only want to harvest honey that is matured. So the traditional hives are not the best. Okay, we then have other hives that are top bar hives. One is called Kenyan top bar because it was developed by someone in Kenya. So it's in Kenya country, Kenyan top bar, in short called KTB. Okay, the Kenyan top bar. Sorry, it's other shape like this. Right, the length can be about 80 centimeters to 1 meter. The width at the top is about 40 centimeters. At the base is 20 centimeters. The height being about 40 centimeters. The Kenyan top bar. Right, it has then bars that go across. And the bees will build their combs on what? On these bars. It is now having an advantage over the traditional, because let's say this is the entrance here where the bees they go in, right? Usually the first half year they usually put the larva is going the propolis is also going to be on this side. Then the rest of the hive they will deposit honey. Then you can just come and lift the bars and see if the hive is now mature. I mean the honey, if the honey is now mature, it gets harvested. By mature, you will see the comb. When the comb is covered, they've covered the comb with wax. That you know your honey is what? Your honey is mature. So we talk of a top bar hives That can be our starting point. Okay? Then there's also a Tanzanian. A Tanzanian is more rectangular than this one. This one is a little bit tapered, right? The Tanzanian one is rectangular. There's also another one, the Greek basket is made out of bars, but they also put the top bars. Okay, from the top bars, we go to frame hives, frame type. And I think you guys, these are the ones that you are going to be your starting point, because South Africa, you are relatively very good with this frame one. It's called Langstroth. Langstroth, because it was designed by a guy called Langstroth a long time ago. Langstroth. So that's the hive that we are going to be talking about, and possibly tomorrow we are going to be having a sample of that hive that it has got frames, right? It's when you're talking, if we were talking of cars, the KTB one, the Kenyan top bar, vis-a-vis the Langstroth. The Langstroth will now be the Mercedes-Benz, while this one is a Viso, one of these not so good cars. The Langstroth, it has come to another level. Yeah, it's designed to having frames, rather boxes. The bottom box is called the brood box, which is a little bit large. It also have frames, and then it goes. There's a queen excluder. Like the queen is very big. Okay, it will not go. So then there's the top boxes, which are called the supers. That's where honey is going to be deposited. It is only going to be honey in there, but we should be able to see it tomorrow. For you to get started, you definitely need equipment, and also you need to be equipped yourself, because you are dealing with what? With the bees, and bees do what? They sting. So one of the things that you are going to need is a what? A bee suit. I don't like this material because the sting can apparently go in here. So you need to be watching what the material must be thicker. Yeah, so watch out for it. Yeah, who wants to wear this one? Come. Okay. So there goes our bee farmer, right? When you buy your bee suit, you want to make sure it's not too tight, okay? So you rather buy a larger size, because if there is a sting goes in there, it will actually go in there. Yeah. So there, you need to be conscious. Better know exactly who's selling good quality bee suits, and then they also come with the gloves. I don't prefer this short one. Some it's actually like an overall. I think if you saw the video that I sent on the group, you saw that video when I was harvesting. My bee suit is a khaki, but you see it's like an overall. So you are closed from top to bottom, and then these are the gloves that you would wear. All right. In here, it's a leather at the front, and then this is the glass. This is canvas. You can actually have a lot of bee stings coming here, but they won't actually get to you. So a bee suit is mandatory. I would prefer the overall type where you are fully closed, top to what? Top to bottom. Okay? In here you can work pretty very well with what? With the bees. Alright? And then this is a smoker. It comes with a stand. Right. Are you happy in there? Are you're a bee farmer? Alright. So this stand goes in there. You can then put in there. You can burn dry cow dung to smoke your what? Or bees. You can also use egg crates, that we can that can also work. Or cobs, when you shell your maize, you can also just burn them in there. And then when they are ready, you can actually but smoke will actually go. So when you are harvesting, or maybe you are even inspecting your hive, you just go to the hive, give it a few puffs. What do you think we're doing that?
So that the bees can evacuate.
No, we don't want them to evacuate.
Oh, so that they can get dizzy or something.
Yeah, that's layman's language. Yeah, some will say no, to make them drunk. That's still the layman's language. Okay, you can remove your biscuit. Bees, for them to sting you, they would have been given instructions by the queen. Massive communication. So here we're operating like we are in a war. By puffing them with smoke, we are disrupting communication with the what? With the queen. Because if you stand on the hive, you are not going to be stunned by bees that are coming from the outside. You will be stunned by the guards that would have been instructed by who? By the queen to say, hey. How does the queen even detect you? Scent. Okay. So if you go there, you are smelling sweat and they don't like these odors. Alright? So the guards will then what? Will then attack. And our bees, thank you so much, let me be seated. Alright? So we need a smoker. Because we don't want to kill our what? Our bees. One of the basic things that you also need is a bee brush. You can just feel it. You pass. Just pass it. Because bee brush. Yeah, it's a bee brush. You see the bristles are, if you want, are even very soft, yeah? Yeah. So great. Before you feel it, I'll pass it on to you. Yeah. So let's say you've removed this comb, and the bees all over it. So you are well closed. You can just say, "Hello, my darlings. I'm not trying to kill you. Remain in your hives with the what? With the bee brush. So you are going to need a bee brush. Okay. This is a hive tool because they would have sealed, the frames or glued them with the propolis. Okay? Then you leave the hive to cut, and then you can then lift. So that's one of the things that you are going hive tool. And okay, your hive tool. So these are the basic needs for you to get started. You then need the hives. Okay? On the hives, you also need a bee catcher. A bee catcher is like I've said, your Langstroth hive is a big one, but it has got 10 frames. The bee catcher is small, it has got 6 frames. Right? Bees, they can actually sense the volume of the hive. In the bee catcher, they can easily colonize the bee catchers. And then when they begin to build, you can then transfer them into what? Into the main hive. Okay? By just lifting the frames with their combs, and then you put them into the hives. Sometimes you can actually think of a business of bee removal business. Have you ever heard of that? You can check around. Because you can just say you've mastered the art. Hey, bees have gone into my ceiling. And you want to remove them. It's currently easy these days. You are well clothed. There's something that we call a beaver. It looks like a vacuum cleaner. What does a vacuum cleaner do? It sucks. So it sucks the bees without killing them, put them into a bag, and then you can just pour them into your bee catcher, and then you transport them away. It's actually a business that can actually thrive. Yes, so you can thrive. So bee removal is also one of those things that you. Why do you want to keep bees? Okay, we want to keep bees for Why we must keep bees? Honey, pollination, wax. What else? Why must we keep bees? Huh? Medicine. Okay, we can make medicine, yes, especially from propolis. And also even from what? From wax. And your cosmetic industry also is also using what? Yeah, it's also using bee hives. There's also royal jelly. Right? Royal jelly on the hive is only eaten by the queen. Because it's what? It's royal. That's the food for the queen. And it's one of those products that is very, very expensive. Propolis. Propolis is more expensive than honey. Okay? Yeah, we read of the Egyptian pyramids, and we read of mummies. The people who had died there, and they are in the pyramids. You can go currently and see them, all right? You know what they've been involved in? They've been involved in propolis. Yeah, so those are some of the things that we actually need to keep bees. Like I said, bees, they are the most efficient pollinators. Okay? So if you are going to be growing our own garden, our own food, we actually need bees for the pollination. What else do we need keeping bees for? For educational purposes. How about that? Okay, you can actually put it a beekeeping academy. Alright? Yeah, so that's one of the things that we may want to consider. And also, because there's a lot of chemicalization and poisoning our plants, the bee bank is dwindling. So we need to keep this to uphold the bee bank globally. Okay? Is this making sense? Mm-hmm. So who is going to start keeping bees? Okay, I see one day. Where do you guess what? The bees. Okay, that's a good one. When you have set up your apiary, okay, you bait your hives. On the hive, you can use propolis, their own propolis. You burn it for it just to smell. That's it. And then you smear it on the entrance as well as on the inside. Yeah, bees can be attracted into there. You can as well buy colonies. By colony, we are talking of a hive that is with bees already. So it can be, you can buy it anyway, and then you can put it into your apiaries. That's basically how we can get hives colonized. And then we talk of colonialism, the word came from the bees. It was like a colony, they come to an empty space, and they begin to defend it as it has always been theirs. Yeah. So a very strong colony, when you talk of a strong colony in bee farming, it has got so many bees. 60,000 to 80,000. Yes. Bees. Right. And bees can sting, and you can be stung to death. Don't tamper with what? With the bees. So, like I said, no strong smells like even the soaps and the perfumes. Okay? You don't wear black, you don't wear red when you're dealing with what? With the bees. Yes. Bees also, they are going to also teach us to take care of the environment. Currently, a Langstroth hive at Beware is in Centurion. It's going for 1,195. And certainly, if you put your apiary, put your 10 hives in there, you see a fire 1 kilometer away, you make sure the fire dies before it gets to your what? This is an investment. Okay, so we will generally take care of the what? Of the environment if we start keeping what? If we start keeping bees. Bees are also highly organized. Did you hear that? If we would live as bees, we will not struggle. Because I remember growing up, everybody working as a bee. We actually even had a song. Because bees are just generally hardworking. Okay? And they are what? They are organized. And they don't struggle. They don't have any politics. When the queen is about to die, okay? Okay, before I go there, all the worker bees in the hives are females. So ladies, you can clap the hands for yourself. So if you see them flying around, you know they are what? They are female bees. But apparently, the queen, one of the roles of the queen is to suppress their ovaries so that they don't lay eggs. It's only the queen that lays eggs. Yeah, she alone. So she makes sure she suppresses the ovaries of these other ones so that they don't what? They don't reproduce. Yeah? How does she do that? Okay, the communication, they produce scent. It's called pheromone. Okay? So it's this pheromone also that she communicates with. And the pheromone goes to target group of bees. You can say, okay, the hive is now too hot. You fan the hive. Okay? So it communicates via pheromone. If she picks my scent, if she doesn't like my scent, okay, this scent, you go and attack. And bees, the moment it stings you, it's not going to live again. It will apparently going to die. Okay. And bees also do not live very long. The lifespan of worker bees is between 4 weeks and 6 weeks. So let's be kind unto bees. So you are going to find one of the biggest worker of the queen is producing eggs to keep the hive alive, simply because the lifespan of bees is what? Is very short. The queen is the one who lives the longest on the hive, and she is specially protected. The lifespan, it can go from 3 to 5 years when she is very active. Yes, from 3 to 5 years. And she is active, like she's giving commands, she's still what? She's still laying eggs. How does she become a queen? A very good question. Right? Queens from the eggs, they've got special cells where eggs are deposited in there, which will produce what? Produce queens. When they hatch, they will eat royal jelly. Okay? And then they become queens. So it's about the space, their bread, and the food. Do you see how food is also key to us, even to our salvation? Alright, so let's say the queen is about to die. She then instructs these worker bees, you must build cells for queens, and probably they can be 8 or 6. And usually, if you raise up a comb, if you see cells on the bottom of them, usually those ones are the ones where queens will be hatched. And then if the queen hatches, the first one that hatches, she will then kill the other ones. And she remains alone. If they hatch simultaneously, they will come to the center of the hive to fight to death until one is left. The one that's left will then fly out of the hive into the air. And the males, the drones, they will follow it for mating in the air. Maybe 8. I sent the video.
Yes.
If you don't know, there are about 8 to 12 drones they met with the air. That's the only day that she met for her entire life. And then she comes back to the hive and she rules. If that queen, the old one, is still relatively active, she will then get out of the hive with maybe 25% of the bees and start a new life. Right? Alternatively, she can just lie dormant in there and she'll be just eating and enjoying a paycheck. So in theory, we say every hive is only one queen. But okay, you can actually identify other queen, but the old queen won't be active. So it's only one queen that is ruling at any given time. Does that make, is it clear? So bees are actually organized. They usually know, my time has come, I'm about to die. Okay? You go. And also these other bees, when they know their time is about to come, when they go to whatever task they do, they specialize. Those for collecting nectar are for collecting nectar. Those for feeding the larva, they are for feeding the larva. Those for pollen are for pollen. That's for propolis, they are for propolis. So those, if they know they are about to die and they are by the flowers, they don't return to the hive at night. They sleep there. So that if they die, they don't want to burden anybody having to collect them out of what? Out of the hive. You will never see a dead bee in the hive unless you've killed it yourself.
Amen.
Isn't that organization?
Yes.
Yeah. Just a minute. Sometimes there can be intruders that can go into the hive. They fight the intruders. And probably they say a snake goes in there. There are some little snakes that can be go in there. They get killed and they get embalmed in propolis. There are also hive beetles that can go in there. They get killed, they get embalmed because they are too heavy for them to carry them out. To carry them out, they get embalmed because they try to keep the beehive as clean. Yeah, that's why propolis is also works out as what we actually propolis tincture, good for your flus, good for cancer, that's the kind of things. So propolis is also for sanitizing the water. And in as much as it is there for closing the crevices that are open, it's also there to sanitize the water, sanitize the beehive, the house, the environment. So this is bees for us. Everybody we must work as what? As a bee. We can actually be very, very organized. The males, as far as the hive is concerned, they are just there to keep the caste, the family caste. But they are the laziest because they don't work. Okay? They don't sting. Okay? In case of a drought, they are the first ones to be kicked out of what? Out of the hive. Yeah, you guys, you are useless here. Go and die away from us. Because like we say, okay, the males will live about maybe 6 to 8 weeks. But the queen already mates only once. So they are just there. The hive is about 5 to 3%, 3% of the hive is what? Is this the drones, the male one, the male bees.
Who are the guards?
The worker bees. Some of the worker bees, they can just be there, but they are female. Okay? Some are there, like I said, to feed the babies, some are there to watch the queen. Yeah. All the way, but they are all what? All females. So, welcome to the bee world. It's actually fascinating. But if we can come to a point where we work as bees, we will be happy. So, let's stop here for today. We are going into our gardens. We know our groups, right? Do not go to a group that is not yours. In bees, a bee, they will never get lost. We can actually have a hive here, in the hive here, in the hive here, in the hive here. They will never deviate to go into a different hive. Because if they do that, it's war. They will be killed. So please don't go to a different group. We know what we are going to do today, right? We are finishing the beds. Okay? And we are manicuring the place. If you can go just maybe have some containers, whatever, you can just make sure the place must be mounted, then you can maybe use the tires and whatnot. You can just put them in place so that at least our garden must be lively. By the time we finish, we want to make sure we're just ready for planting. Okay? Thank you so much. Let's go to the garden.